Okay, so first of all, I have a YouTube channel where I make video tutorials about Microsoft Excel, Word and PowerPoint, and I have about 6,000 subscribers. At the moment, I am on the Overview tab of my YouTube Analytics page, and the first thing I'm going to do is click See More. Then I'm going to click Total, and then change the time frame to a custom time frame, which will begin on the 1st of the 1st, 2015, and apply. And then you can see how my YouTube views have increased over time with some small variations. I'm now going to add a secondary metric to compare to, go to More Metrics and Videos Published. Now each green line is a different video. On this day I published 4 videos, but every other day I published 1 video. And I first began making videos in 2015, and then I made some videos in 2016, but I didn't properly start making videos until 2017. So I'm now going to zoom in to show just 2017. And you can see I started making videos properly in March 2017 and then made 1 video a week from then on. And the purple line shows how my views increased during this time. You can also see that there is this continuous wave or cycle in the views, and this is a weekly cycle. So I get less views during the weekend and more views during the week. And I think this is because I make educational videos, and so people are less likely to watch those at the weekend. Now I'm going to change the time period to 2018. And in 2018, you can see in addition to the weekly cycle, we also start to see a seasonal cycle as well. So the number of views increases at the beginning of the year, and then during the summer months, the number of views decreases and then stays the same for a while. And then at the end of the year, the number of views begins to increase again. Then at the end, over the Christmas holidays, the views decrease again. And if I change this to 2019, we can see a similar seasonal cycle. So the number of views increases at the beginning of the year, then during the summer months they decrease and then stay the same for a while, then at the end of the year they increase until you get to the very end of the year when they drop down again. And I think this is because during the summer months and over Christmas, people are on holiday, and so they're less likely to watch educational videos. Now I'll change this to the last 365 days. As I'm making this video, it is currently July 2020. And you can see recently I've been less consistent at making videos, and that's because I am now at the end of my PhD, so I have been very busy. But the seasonal cycle seems to have continued. So the views were lower during the Christmas holidays, and then they increased at the beginning of the year, and now we are coming into the summer months, they have decreased again. Now if I close this, we can look at some other features. So I'll go to Reach, and here we can see the number of impressions, which is the number of times YouTube shows one of my video thumbnails to somebody on YouTube. And so I have about 10 million impressions in the last 365 days. And then we have impressions click-through rate, which is of the people that YouTube shows my thumbnail to, how many people actually click on the video. and this is 7.2%, and you can see that this is generally pretty stable for me, at around somewhere between 6 to 9%. Then if we scroll down, we can see the traffic sources, so this is where the views are coming from. So about 40% of my views come from YouTube search, and then about a third come from external sources, and then about 12% come from suggested videos. And if we scroll down a bit more, we can see this in more detail. So of the third of my views that come from external sources, almost all of those come from Google search, about 80%. So that means a lot of my views come from people searching for things on Google. Then we also have YouTube search, which makes up about 40% of my views. And with this, you can actually see the phrases that people are typing in, which lead them to my videos. And if I click see more, we can see lots of different phrases as well. So my most popular video is called How to Make an Academic Poster in PowerPoint. So a lot of these phrases are different ways of saying poster in PowerPoint. But then I also make videos about Microsoft Word and Excel, so some of these phrases relate to those things as well. Then we also have suggested videos, which makes up about 12% of my views. And this is when people are watching a video. My video then appears in the recommended videos at the side of the screen, and people click on my video. And so these are the videos people were watching that led them to one of my videos. And if I click see more, we can see more videos as well. And these are all also related to PowerPoint and Word and Excel. We can then have a look at engagement. And we can see the average view duration. So this is the number of minutes that people spend watching my videos on average. And you can see that this is generally pretty stable for me at somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes. We can also down here see my most popular videos. And if I click see more, I can then click on total and change this to views. And then, as I previously said, my most popular video is how to make an academic poster in PowerPoint. And if I tick on this, this then becomes the blue line. And so you can see in comparison to my total number of views, which is the black line, this video makes up a significant number of my total views. It is about 23 to 24% of my total views. And this is by far my most popular video. It has more than 3 times the number of views as my second most popular video. If I tick on this, you can see that that is the green line. And you'll also see that the blue line follows a very similar pattern to the black line. So this video has had a very large influence. Then we can go and have a look at audience. And if we scroll down a bit, you can see this is when your viewers are on YouTube. So when do the people who watch my YouTube videos tend to be on YouTube? So you can see they tend to be there in sort of the mid-afternoon time, less so on a Saturday, but also on a Sunday. And then they tend to not be watching YouTube videos very late at night or early in the morning. And this is kind of what I would expect. Now, something that is interesting is the watch time from subscribers. So 99.1% of the watch time comes from people who are not subscribed to me. And only 0.9% come from people who are subscribed. And I think this is because people tend to search for something on YouTube, say how to do such and such in PowerPoint, and then they watch my video and then go on about their day and never actually subscribe. Then we can also see which countries most of my views come from. So most of my views come from the United States, and I also get views from the United Kingdom and Canada. And those are all English-speaking countries, which makes sense as I make my videos in English. We also have India here, and lots of people in India can speak English, and they also have a very large population, so it makes sense that India would be the second highest. We can also have a look at the age and gender as well. So about a third of my views come from women and about 2/3 come from men. I'm guessing this is probably because men tend to be interested in more computer-based stuff. And then you can also see the different age groups as well. So most of my views, about 75%, come from people between the ages of 18 and 34 years old. And I get far fewer views from young people and old people. Then we can also have a look at revenue. So this is the total amount of money that I've made in the last year. And you can also see the playback-based CPM, which is the amount of money that is made per 1,000 views. Now this number is calculated in a kind of weird way because it only includes views that had advertisements playing on them. And so you can see here my estimated monetized playback. So the number of views that I got that had advertisements on them that were monetized is about 1 million in the last year. But then if we want to see my total number of views, we have to go back to the overview tab, and you can see that that was about 1.5 million. So this number here is calculated excluding about 500,000 views. And then also YouTube takes half of this money. So if we want to work out what the actual amount of money is that I make per 1,000 views, we need to go back to the overview tab and compare this number here to this number. So I make about $4.56 per 1,000 views. Then if we go back to the revenue tab, you can see how this number has changed over time. So you'll see that there was a slight decrease in about March time. And I think this is because of the COVID-19 lockdown. So advertisers were less inclined to put advertisements on videos because people weren't spending money the same way they were before. And also people were less inclined to click on adverts because they weren't spending money the same way they were before. And if we scroll down here, we can also see the money that I make from different ad types. So most of my money comes from skippable video ads, about 87%. And we can also see my different revenue sources. So almost all of my money comes from advertisements, and then a small amount comes from YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium is something people can pay for if they want to watch YouTube videos without having to see advertisements, but almost nobody does this, so it's a very small amount of money. Then we can also have a look at the amount of money I've made each month. If I click on See More, I'm then going to change this to a custom time frame, which will start on the 1st of the 6th, 2019. Then I'm going to add the views to this table, then change the graph back to estimated revenue, and then order the table by date. So in order to monetize a YouTube channel, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 12 months. And I passed those milestones in June 2019, so that's when I first started making money on YouTube. So this here is June 2019. And you can see here, this is the amount of money that I made in that month. But we were already partway through June when my channel became monetized. So this is only part of a month's worth of money. My first complete month was July 2019. And in that month, I made $327. And then the amount of money I made increased for a few months. So in August, I made $334, and then in September, $387, in October, $471, in November, $540, and then in December, it decreased a little bit. And this was because my views decreased during December because, as I previously said, I get far fewer views during the Christmas period. The amount of money and views then both went up again in January, and then they continued to increase for a few months until we get to April when I made $801. And then it decreased a little bit in May. And this was despite the fact that the number of views increased in May. And this was because the amount of money that I made per 1,000 views decreased during this time period because advertisers weren't making as many advertisements and people weren't clicking on them as much. Then the amount of money went up a little bit in June, but not to as high as it was in April, although there isn't a huge amount of difference between these three numbers. And then at the moment we are in July 2020, so this is only part of a month's worth of money, which is why it is smaller than the other months. Now if we have a look at the graph, you can see the amount of money has been increasing each month. Ignoring this value here, because as I just said, it's only part of a month. Okay, so in this video, I have shown you some of my YouTube analytics. I made a similar video to this last year, so if you want to see how things have changed, you can watch that. And that is everything.